Auburn Blitz is now on the air. Your daily look into what's happening in Auburn athletics. With your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome into the Tuesday edition of the Auburn Blitz. Brett and Randy here with you for your lunch hour. And we want to hear from you. I know we will hear from you. We heard from a lot of people yesterday, and or Andy and David did, rather. It'll be mine and Randy's turn today. A lot to discuss in a very small amount of time, but we want to thank J. Smith Construction, Russell Do It Center and Building Supply Stores in Central Alabama Community College for being our partners here on the program. We couldn't do the show without them, and we're very much appreciative to have three great organizations that give you this show each and every day. You can comment on Facebook Live. You can tune us in on Roku. You can tune us in on YouTube. Obviously, Facebook Live, all different types of ways. I tell you, man, dive right into this thing. Mine and your thoughts on this thing. Auburn and Alabama, another crazy game in this series. And this one goes for Alabama. This one, again, with one desperation play left in the back pocket for Alabama. For all rights and purposes, Auburn had Alabama where they wanted them, and Alabama finds a way to make a play. And we'll dive into why they made the play and what all went into all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of positives here. I want to start with, once you get through the sting, and Alabama knows what this feels like. They've been on that side several times. I was on the field in '97. I thought it was a dead loss for us. I'm standing down there. It's my first game on the sideline as a student assistant. And I go, well, of course I'll be part of the first time Alabama rolls into Jordan-Hare and beats us. That's about my luck. And then Ed Sissom fumbles the football and we kick the field goal. There's gut-wrenching times on both sides. But if I look at what you and I talked about leading into this game and what we pulled up on Saturday and the rosters of these two teams, and you look at what Auburn had on their roster, and you look at what Alabama had on their roster, and you look at Georgia early in the year, it tells me that Hugh Freeze can really coach a team up, but it can also tell me that in the New Mexico State game, you can overlook a team and not be prepared with the undermanned roster. And I heard what James said and all that yesterday, but Randy, I really think that should say and send a message to Auburn fans that, man, if we can get talent equitable to the top-tier programs in this conference, I love our chances, man, in every game, because Hugh Freeze took way lesser than against Georgia and Alabama, who are clearly the best two teams in this conference, and played them to the very end and had a chance to win both games.
Unfortunately, as an Auburn fan, Brian Harsin did too. And I'm going to bring that up in regards to what goes on at Jordan-Hare.
Well, not Georgia, he did.
Well, maybe not Georgia, but I'm talking about what happened with the Alabama game a couple of years ago. Correct. When we were a 25-point dog and up 10-3 late, outside of a miracle. Look, if anybody wants to say that Jordan-Hare is a big old voodoo doll that always goes in Auburn's favor, you clearly haven't watched the last two Iron Bowls. The way that we stayed in those football games is where I wanted to start today, though, Brett. It's a miracle. You know what Auburn passing yards averaged the last two games at Jordan-Hare against Alabama in the Iron Bowl were? Average passing yards in those two games.
For who, Auburn?
For Auburn.
And probably about, I'd say 100, 120 yards.
114.
I was right on it.
What was the average passing yard for Alabama in those? 287.
Okay.
So between those two, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize we're talking a massive difference in yardage out there on the field between those two teams.
In the air.
In the air.
Yeah.
And Auburn has found their way on the ground, which is a miracle in its own right. You know, it's not like you're matching up with an Alabama team that's not physical, that doesn't have a whole bunch of 5- and 4-stars over there on the defensive side, and they know you can run the ball. Like, they know it's coming. You think there was any question in their mind that Peyton Thorne was going to be running the football on Saturday in that second half? I mean, he had gone completely away from those RPOs, and all the decisions were to run it. And they still really couldn't stop it. That's my point, is that it's so frustrating to see how well we do play when, look, we're 39-point dogs in those two games, 25-1, 14 on Saturday.
Correct.
Play them out of their minds.
Here's the difference in what I hear exactly what you're saying, and I agree. You're right. Brian Harsin coached a team up that played Alabama and should have probably won the game. You gave up that last drive.
Clearly should have won it.
The difference is that Hugh Freeze is recruiting and he wasn't. And I think that's where this all boils down to, is that we feel like, and I truly believe, that Hugh Freeze is going to get elite talent into Auburn. We had no feel at all that Brian Harsin was even going to come close to getting any type of elite talent to where you could make the gap up. So that's where I was starting with it, saying that, you know, if you had to look at a positive this year, and yeah, there's some down times, and there's no question in my mind, I can't be convinced otherwise, that Auburn overlooked New Mexico State. They felt like they put two. You can tell by the game plan. They had an excellent game plan against Alabama, and you know, starting the game they didn't execute it well, but they executed it once they got going, and once they realized they could run the football. You know, Auburn had numerous opportunities to try to put that game away. But, again, it goes back to the roster. It goes back to the level of player. You got to make a wide-open catch if you're Rivaldo Fairweather. You got to be able to do the little things to keep – you got to catch a punt with 4:20 to go in a game. You know, you've got to be able to cover a 4th and 31. And I know fluke things happen, but those are the little things that end up getting you beat when you're trying to hold on for – I thought Andy brought up a good point yesterday. You know, when you're playing against basically an NFL roster – like Alabama has, with not an NFL roster, and you're playing above your head, you know, you're just playing to hang on at that point. Eventually, the better players are going to end up making a play some point in time, and we saw it happen 2 years ago with Bryce Young. He ends up with his back against the wall, driving Alabama down the field to score a touchdown to get it to overtime. And then you saw on Saturday, Jalen Milroe and this Alabama offense do what they needed to do, albeit was 4th and 31. It seems like impossibility. They end up figuring out a way to make a play. And, you know, until you get talent that's equitable, you're going to play games like that.
Which I'm hoping we are. But, again, it's a hope right now. It's still a hope as Auburn. What are we, 16th in recruiting?
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm thinking his tail off.
I'm thinking he's working his tail off, too.
I think we're going to see.
There's a huge difference between working and closing.
Well,
we've seen in the past Auburn work really hard under Gus Malzahn in recruiting and not close the deal on a lot of guys. I'm hoping we do.
I think it's
Trust
different.
me, I hope Cam Coleman closes the deal. I'm not up here to knock Hugh Freeze. I'm up here calling Auburn a spade, and we're still 16th in recruiting.
We are, and we've still got probably 7 spots left. And I think the people that Auburn's after, they're big-time players, and they're the players that when you get 1 or 2 of them, they drastically rise you in the rankings,
like Justin Ross would have.
Correct. And so
we're in the same conversation on Cam Coleman we were with him. I remember you going into the final day when he committed to Clemson and going, I was told, man, we got him.
Yep.
We made it work. We're going to get him. He's going to sign with us today, and it didn't work out. So my point is, you got to close the deal.
I get it. And I know that we've got opportunities, and Auburn's already closed the deal on several guys. I know you got to get ink on paper. But, you know, even if Auburn were to stop right now in this first year really under Hugh Freeze, you know, gaining the traction that he's gained, I think the future is bright. I really do. I think he's got it going in the right direction. You know, until I'm proved otherwise, we'll see. But I think coming down the stretch, Auburn's going to be pleasantly surprised with some of these guys. They're not going to get all of them, but they're going to get several of these guys coming down the stretch that are going to help start making the difference. You know, and Auburn's going to have to go back in the portal and find a quarterback. There's going to be some good quarterbacks out there. You know, I think Riley Leonard might be in the mix. I think Will Rogers is definitely going to be in the mix. And I think there's going to be some big-time programs going after these guys. You know, Peyton Thorne's a gamer. I'll echo what Andy and David said yesterday. You got to tip your hat. He didn't have any targets to throw the ball to this year, for the most part.
Well, he threw the ball very poorly in the first half.
Earlier.
Very poor.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he missed open receivers. He looked disheveled, missed open out. But I can't say enough good things about what he does. He gave us so much more with his legs than you and I or anyone thought that he possibly could have. And his toughness is man, I tip my hat to him. This guy is a true gamer. Really plays hard.
He's a gamer.
But he's 5 of 16 passing for 91 yards.
You can't hide that. Those numbers were horrific, and no doubt about it.
And he missed a lot of open receivers too.
He did, and he missed them earlier in the year, and I thought he got better during the stretch. Randy, this team's just inconsistent. I think this is a culmination of what we're talking about. This roster, the players on the roster, they're not big-time players. It's not a cut on them. I thought David said it best yesterday. He goes, some people are better at business than others. You might own a business. Doesn't mean that you are equitable just because you're a business owner and I'm a business owner. Some are better than others. And it's, again, our players, and you can argue whatever you want to out there. I know James feels like, the rosters aren't that far off. Man, it is way off when you look at it on paper versus what goes on one or two times in a specific game is not a complete picture. Auburn is 6-6. Alabama is 11-1. Georgia is 12-0. If you don't think there's a difference in rosters, you're not opening your eyes. Now, coaching has something.
And those
to do with that
those
too.
two games that we like to point to that shows how close we are with Georgia and Alabama.
Right.
That's at Jordan
on a particular day
at home.
But then you look at Texas A&M and LSU and how we played in those games, and you can argue that's more of a snapshot of who we are, really, than those other two games. Again. And like Luke said, Justin Ross told both Auburn and Alabama he was going there. He surprised both staffs. So you're going to get that. I just think that where we sat this time last year versus where we sat or where we sit this time, the amount of energy and the effort that's going into recruiting is 120% more than what we were seeing the last 3 or 4 years. And with effort – with NIL, with the things that are going on, I think it's a different landscape.
Do we think that it's a lot better than it was under Gus Malzahn?
What are you
I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here now. I'm hoping you're right. But I'm asking, do you think that the effort's a lot better now under Hugh Freeze recruiting than it was under Gus Malzahn?
I think he's getting after it. I don't know how much more. I think Gus Malzahn did a really good job of recruiting.
I do too.
I'm not going to sit here and say that.
He finished, somewhere between 8 and 12?
Sure.
And sometimes higher than that. I think he had a high end of 5 maybe 1 year.
Right. I think that it's equitable if maybe not a little bit more aggressive.
Okay.
I really feel that way. Just by reading and getting the insight that we get from the people that we know and, the tireless efforts of Hugh Freeze since he's been on the ground there. I mean, not to say Auburn wasn't in a desperate situation when Gus Malzahn showed up because we had a horrific year, but I think Gus walked in and goes, man, this roster isn't as bad as we think. And they went to a national championship game, and it kind of fueled them the rest of the way out. He
caught lightning in a bottle at the quarterback position.
Well, he did, but
and maybe Hugh Freeze can in this offseason.
Here's the deal. Hugh Freeze has inherited a mess. He has. You got to admit that.
I wouldn't consider this a worse mess than you would have asked me at the end of 2012.
Well,
I would have considered that the worst mess I've seen in my lifetime.
The worst year. And I don't think we realized that how much the discipline and all the stuff that went into that with Gene Chizik really overshadowed really what was on the roster, because we actually ended up going to a national championship game and we're about 1 minute and 12 seconds away from winning. I think you got to look at some positives, man. Stay tuned. More of the Auburn Blitz right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau tri-tunes, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Let's get serious. Let's get Arctic Air serious. You want your car and truck to live longer, don't you? Well, it's about maintenance. Same thing with Arctic Air. You see the number at the bottom of the screen? Call them right now. Let me tell you something. You want to be comfortable? We all want to be comfortable.
It's truck and SUV season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. If you've been waiting to buy, the time is now to save big. Heavy discounts on Chevrolet and GMC 4x4s, crew cabs, loaded and lifted, gas or diesel, half tons to 1 tons. Loads of new and used models. Over 200 on the ground or on the way to Glenn Smith. Don't wait. Call now. Get the best deal on your new truck or SUV at Glenn Smith in Opelika and get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz here. 45 minutes left. In today's show, let's go to the phone lines. Terry, what's going on, brother?
Hey, guys, how are y'all today?
We're good.
Hey, Brett, Randy, this kid out of Duke, is that a legitimate rumor? Is that kid in the portal? I've heard this is the third time I've heard this today.
I don't think he's officially gotten in the portal that I've seen, but I think there's a lot of momentum that he could get in the portal. And, of course, him being from the state of Alabama, a lot of people would obviously project him to end up back here in the state possibly. So it's a lot of speculation right now.
I could say, though, Terry, let me jump in. Brett and I had a conversation. I don't think he'd mind us saying with Jason Caldwell on it at the end of last week. And he didn't sense that Riley Leonard was a guy that would leave Duke and go in the portal and try to bounce around like that just from a personality standpoint. That could be wrong. That's just one person's opinion, but I'll throw that out there.
Right. Well, the thing I didn't like about Peyton Thorne, there were several times this year, in my opinion, that he ducked out of bounds too early. That there was another yard or two to gain for a first down, or maybe even closer, make the third or fourth down closer, maybe even a go for it scenario, and he ducked out of bounds. So I question the kid's a little bit of his intelligence, because we heard his accuracy and his intelligence were his two strong points when he came to Auburn. And let's remember something, guys. Peyton Thorne was not their first choice.
No, I know it. I totally get it. I mean, they wanted the kid from Nebraska.
You can't knock his toughness against Alabama. My God. But to complete 5 passes, still be in the game. Brett, you were talking about inconsistency. Inconsistency is playing the 2 best teams on your team within 10 points and losing to Mexico State by 3 touchdowns.
Right. That is the epitome of it.
That's the epitome of inconsistency right there. So.
Right.
Okay, appreciate it, guys. Y'all take care.
Thank you, Terry.
Appreciate it so much. We go back. James, what's up, man? You there, James?
Lost James. We'll catch up with James. 256-234-6221.
Yeah, Tony said if I was an official in Iron Bowl, there would be an extra 60 yards worth of penalties on both sides. There's plenty of penalties thrown already.
Well, there was a lot of passing up. What I agreed was a lot of excessive fighting out there on the field that it felt like they never got a grip on it. And I know that it's a rivalry game.
But you don't normally see that in an Iron Bowl. I said that earlier.
But it was in this one.
It was in it because
and the officiating crew never really got a grip on it.
They didn't have control of the game.
That's right.
You see it in Ohio State, Michigan. You see it in Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Florida State, but you never see it. You know, I watched something on Twitter this week, and it was a clip of all the major rivalries and a bunch of skirmishes over the last few years. Auburn and Alabama wasn't in it because they don't get in those kind of pushing and punching and stuff like that. But it was several times in this one, and it's because the referees didn't have control. Ty said, why were there no ejections on that fight at the end? Again, I think a lot of people question why they let that go. John said, Freeze was right. It takes 60 minutes to beat Bama, not 59 and 20-plus seconds. No doubt. Steve said there's talent discrepancy between AU and Bama, but training is an issue, such as Burton wide open for TD with 1:30 left in the first half. Yeah, there's a lot of that. That's what we've been talking about.
Just a communication issue, a breakdown, a defensive call that put a safety in a position where he's running where Burton down the field supposed to be. I know Puckett didn't run with him, but he was supposed to run with him, and you saw the corner feel like he had 2 deep safety coverage in the back, and that guy was going to run, and he didn't. So, I mean, I'm not a secondary coach at Auburn, but I question that call. Do you, Brett? Do you question anything that allows outside receiver to run free down the seam like that?
No, I mean, he obviously let him release because he felt like he had.
Have you watched Puckett run?
He can't run.
He is a outside backer playing safety.
Yeah,
he's 227 pounds. I think he's a good physical backer, but you gonna match him up with a speedster like that? That was the decision that was made there. That's my problem with it is not the miscommunication. It was the thought that was the thing to do to begin with.
Right. You know, and Auburn comes down and they take the lead in the game right there, and then you give it right back up going into halftime. And, you know, that's the one thing that, again, championship caliber teams don't allow a score there before half. Alabama gets the ball to start the second half. You knew that was going to be a double possession for them. You fought back to take the lead, had all the momentum, and you just gave it all away going into the locker room. Ed said, Randy, are you going to blame Freeze if Cam Coleman or Ryan Williams doesn't commit to Auburn? He said, you're wrong on that. It's about money to these 5 stars.
Well, Freeze is the one that's got to figure out the money. So, yes, he's the guy that we have hired to figure the NIL out and go out there and sell. And am I going to blame him? No, but he's the coach. And we do need those two, and those two are the difference makers. So, look, I'm not but he's the main guy that we've got out there trying to close. That'd be like me saying that I don't blame Brett for going out there and closing a massive deal for our media company. Well, he's my salesman. He's the one that I'm counting on to go out there and close the deal. So, yes, to a certain extent.
You got to get it all right. Whatever.
The coach is the one that's got to get the deal put together right to make the deal happen. And if he can't go out there and sell himself enough to get the money in place, then, yes, it's his issue. Same as Bruce Pearl. If Bruce Pearl's got a main guy basketball-wise out there on the hook and Alabama outbids him or outfigures out the NIL deal, Nate Oates beats him to the punch there, then who are you blaming? Who do you blame?
There's only ultimately one person in charge.
Agree.
So I think what John comes in and says is AU going to go after in the portal Will Rogers. I think they, you know, depending on Will Rogers coming into the season was the #1 ranked quarterback in the conference. When coming into this season, his numbers and what he produced the year before at Mississippi State. Now, he was hurt this year for several games, and they just were a bad football team all the way around. But Will Rogers is a good quarterback. I mean, he's proved that, and, you know, I think it's one of those situations where you put him in I hate to say it, Mac Jones. You put elite talent around a guy like Mac Jones can shine. A lot of people can shine when you put good players around them. So, Will Rogers, wherever he ends up, it's going to be a better program, I feel like.
Am I dying to have Will Rogers show up at Auburn and think he's the answer?
I mean,
what do I think? You asking me?
Go ahead.
I've watched him all I need to see this year. He's about as average can get. He was above average when Mike Leach was calling the plays for him.
He was.
So, and Mike
pretty
Leach,
good quarterback. I mean, he's got pretty good numbers. I mean, I'm not going to blame him.
I'm not blaming him. I'm just asking.
Mississippi State team that he was on this year.
If I think that he's the answer at Auburn.
Well, who's the answer at Auburn?
I don't know, but I'm not buying him a lot more than I'm buying Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's, you know, I guess drawing straws.
That, yeah, 50-50 on which one of those would win the most football games.
It's about like
today.
these coaching hires that we just witnessed. Anybody fired up about either one of those?
I agree.
I mean, I don't know what fires anybody up anymore. I think what you got to do is get who you feel like is right for your program and then coach them up and change the culture and then worry about the results later. And we can all speculate on who's better than somebody else. But you got to get them there, get them in your program, get the culture right, and get on the right path. And get some consistency. That's the key in all this. Not all the flipping and flopping. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Auburn Blitz right after this.
LMG Ad Agency is the go-to vendor for all your digital and print marketing needs. We have in-house production for all projects, including graphic design, web design, social media marketing, videography, and print marketing. Our video production is up to industry standard with modern 4K cameras and drone capabilities. We pride ourselves in client-committed relationships, and every project is personalized to your needs. Visit lmgadagency.com for a free quote today. Let us tell your story.
Lake Martin Garage, located on Highway 280 in Jackson's Gap, has been serving our area since 1993. From routine maintenance such as oil changes, tune-ups, and rotating and balancing your tires, to transmission and engine repair, our trained and certified mechanics will get you back on the road better than before. Need a tow? With a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week towing service, Lake Martin Garage has local and long-range pickup. Trust your vehicle needs to the professionals at Lake Martin Garage. Call 256-825-6139, or better yet, stop in and see them today. Lake Martin Garage.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Frontline Outfitters provides all your aftermarket parts for your cars, trucks, and as well as your professional tinting solutions for auto, residential, and commercial buildings. Frontline Outfitters also handles vinyl wraps, spray-in bed liners, truck accessories, LED lighting, paint correction and detailing, and much more. Make sure Frontline Outfitters of Alexander City is your first call for tinting and aftermarket solutions. Call us today, 256-409-8100.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Lake Martin Mobile Detailing is the #1 auto and boat detailing company in Central Alabama. Don't trust your boat or vehicle to just anybody. Hire the professionals. Top-of-the-line ceramic coating, detailing, gel coat restoration, and paint correction gives you the options to take care of your vehicle the right way. Located at 702 McCarty Road in Dayville, Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have you riding in style. Call them today at 256-794-2328 for Superior Automotive and Boat Detailing.
J.A. Smith Construction is your trusted choice for construction site clearing and grading for new home construction, underground utilities and site work, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 256-896-1400 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz. Halfway through the program, I want to remind everybody, final segment on Tuesdays, Will Herring will join us. So we'll have Will on here in a few minutes. So you want to stay tuned, man. I can't wait to hear his thoughts.
Well, I tuned into the broadcast on Saturday, especially the one leading in, and I thought he with Carlos Dansby was an outstanding interview, and I was glad to hear and see Dansby back on and part of the program and speaking to the kids. And you and I knew what kind of high school player that he was and what he ended up becoming there at Auburn. And I don't think anybody suspected that he'd be, a 15, 16-year guy in the NFL. And you take he and Takeo Spikes.
Oh, yeah, man.
They got 30 years between them and the NFL with linebacking. Yeah, pretty solid. That's saying it mildly. Not many linebackers, kind of like running backs, not many linebackers that last that long in the league.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Jim said Walker White, Holden, Hank Brown, any of those the answer? Don't know. Talking about the quarterback position. John said you're spot on, coaching players up, even if considered a 5-star. That was high school. I've been told by several AU loyalists that that's what's been lacking in AU is coaching players up. Ty said, I think Thorne will be a better quarterback next year with those receivers coming in. Did y'all see where Brian Harsin might be in the mix for the Oregon State job now?
Be a great spot for him.
Congratulations. Hope he stays way out there and in the Pac-2 now, because they'll be one of 2 teams left in what used to be the Pac-12. Still don't have a home. And I told you they had some hard conversations in the athletic department. Said, look, if we don't find a home, we're not being football at Oregon State. Because, you lose all your guaranteed money with these conferences and stuff. And you out there at independent, Randy, you may say, well, Oregon State football or Washington State football can't finance a football team. I told you, what was it, Arizona that was looking at cutting sports a few weeks ago? If you're not getting these guaranteed money deals through the conferences and all that, and you have to go out there and navigate these waters by yourself. In
today's world, that's where a lot of the cash is coming from on those TV deals.
So it's why everybody said, why would Oregon State's coach leave and go to Michigan State? He was a former Oregon State guy. I can tell you why. He didn't think the future's bright at Oregon State. He thinks it's a sinking ship. Because why have they not found a home yet? Everybody else has found a home. They haven't found a home yet. John said, Roman Harper on the show, he's on with the AU lineman.
Cole Kubelik.
Yeah, diagrammed on the play perfectly, the Gravedigger. He said the AU defensive back never looked back at the ball and played the receiver rather than the ball.
Great play call. Have you watched play call? Yeah. Have you watched the play really close in the back of the end zone?
Right.
The way the receiver swapped.
Yes.
So you got your eye inside because you got a receiver that's making a move in, and then you kind of swap and he gets behind. Look, I didn't believe it. I thought it was a broken play. But then you watch Nick Saban at the end of the game, you say, look, man, we worked on that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a fluke. That's something that we worked on.
Here's the problem, in my opinion, and they debated this yesterday for about 2 segments. Don't rush 2 men. It's 4th and 31. The guy cannot run. You want him to run. If he walks across the line of scrimmage, he's already done it twice. He's already gone across the line of scrimmage twice in that game and thrown a pass, an illegal forward pass. What's to say in the moment he has a brain fart and does it again? And you only bring 2 guys, and in essence, it was a stalemate. You just standing the two guys up. Eugene Asante was completely irrelevant. 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, just standing there in the middle of the field. You either going back to the end zone or going up there and try to rush and see if you get two men. You got a guy standing back there with a super strong arm that can plant his feet. He's under no pressure, and he can line up and make a – if he's having to throw on the run, Randy, or if he's running around scrambling – it's probably a different story. You've got to force something to happen. You can't let a guy stand back there and throw. That's my opinion. That's what I'm sticking with. When I saw two men on the line, you can ask my wife. I looked at her. I said, that ain't good enough. I said, two men, he's going to have all day to get the ball into an area where they got a good chance to catch it. And he sat back there 8 seconds, man.
And if
8 seconds.
For anyone that has ever played against a team that wasn't real organized, and the worst thing for a secondary player is a team that just has a mobile quarterback and the receivers are running all over the place. Like you and I call high school football. How many touchdowns out of Malcolm's 24 this year were broken plays?
A lot.
Probably half.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with my son yesterday. I'm like, don't stop running. Like, because he's playing receiver some now. And I said, do you remember Malcolm's touchdown on the left side of the field? I said, it was Gabe breaking a tackle from an Auburn commit, Malik Blockton. Roll the pocket to the left. Malcolm running a route down the middle of the field, breaks it off, comes to the sideline. Gabe hits him. My point is, you're going to stay with a really good receiver like that that's got 8, 10, 12 seconds to sit back there. And
an impossible thing.
It's an impossibility because unless you're face guarding him, you can't run
Randy,
with it.
they've got 31 yards to get to the end zone, right? If you bring, let's just say you put 5, 6 guys up there. You bring a backside or a corner, you bring two guys off the corner, forcing him to have to run out of there. I mean, the receivers aren't even to the end zone.
And I know it's easier said than done here, but after the game. But even watching it, it's
not the right thing.
Yeah.
Just what?
And unfortunately, we had our best cover guy is the one that was beat.
Yep. Again, you give somebody long enough to set their feet and find a place they can throw to a spot, and you let your athlete try to out-athlete the other athlete. And that's what ended up happening. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Auburn Blitz right after this.
"76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community."
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
Something big is coming. Something so big, it'll change the world of chicken sandwiches. Zaxby's new signature sandwich with Zax sauce or new spicy Zax sauce, because the chicken sandwich war ain't over yet. The new signature sandwich. All the other little sandwiches can run along. We'll take it from here.
Lay your best to rest. Call the best. Lewis Pest Control.
Lewis Pest Control is now serving Alexander City and the entire Lake Martin area. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. Whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial, Lewis has environmentally safe products for all your pest control needs. Lewis Pest Control.
Lay your best to rest.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Bugs Island is your boating headquarters. Are you ready to hit the water and go boating this summer? Bugs Island has all kinds of boats, with one sure to fit exactly what you want. Fishing boats, sport boats, pontoon boats, and all with low monthly payments. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Bugs Island Service Department experts are also here for you to keep your boat in top running condition. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Don't be left standing on the bank this summer. Visit online at bugsisland.com and don't buy a boat till you get a Bucks quote.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today, Lake Area Realty, at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Auburn Blitz. A couple segments left in today's show.
And a quick note on this segment, only a few minutes here on this segment, Kane, and we'll go out a little early because we're going to try to bring Will Herring in a little bit early on the next segment, and we'll have him for the final segment of the show.
Yeah, I kind of would like to have him for a little bit longer on that, so we'll try to make a note of that back there, Kane, and try to get out a little bit earlier here on this segment. So let's talk about Hugh Freeze yesterday. Freeze wanted to thank Auburn fans. He said, in my opinion, the best college football atmosphere I've ever experienced. He said it will forever be a regret that we didn't get to celebrate after it. He said on the team's mood on Monday, he said the sting is not getting any better right now. He said talks about prospects that were on campus. He said a lot of recruits saw what it can be, recruitment of its own roster plus NFL draft. Other departure decisions starts today, Freeze said. He said, didn't sleep at all Saturday night, went straight into Sunday. Upsetting as the loss was, he said, if you're made of the right stuff, it makes you really determined. Freeze said he sat with DJ James and Coy Moore at their lockers for a while after the game. On James defending that last play, he said there should have been someone else there with him. Freeze says Keontae Scott dinged his shoulder on the third down before Coy Moore's muff punt, went briefly into the training room. That's why Moore was out there. Freeze said on 4th and 31, says Auburn was in the perfect position leading up to the touchdown. We didn't coach it well enough, and we didn't execute it well enough. In terms of recruiting pitch Saturday, Freeze said Auburn got everything but the win. Every situation is a little different, Freeze says, of the players who may want to opt out of the bowl game. Those are just some notes right there, Randy, just your thoughts on some of what he said.
Oh, just so disappointing that defensive decisions, mainly it looks like from the coaching staff above, could have cost you the Georgia and Alabama game. I
think so.
Because the idea that Brock Bowers is running open
on a 3rd and 14
is beyond anybody's
He wasn't anybody
belief.
around him.
I mean, everyone in the stadium, including the coaching staff that's up there calling the plays, has to know.
He's going to go.
He's the main guy, and then
it'd be wide open, man.
Yeah, a lot of questions. Look, it's hard to say exactly what you should do on a 4th and 31 because you so seldom see a situation like that. But I thought the same. I knew he had the sideline over there to work with too, Brett, but it was really odd that whole side of the field,
right,
about a third of the field was defended by one defender when you've got 9 guys back there.
It didn't make any sense. Again, I'm going to say this, and I'll take it till the end of time with me. Don't rush 2 men. I just think you're asking unrealistic things. Yes, the numbers, and I heard Andy and David yesterday. Yes, the numbers are in your favor, But you said it, Randy. When everybody's running around and scrambling and doing all this kind of stuff, and you don't have any pressure on the guy throwing the football, eventually, and as strong as his arm is, it isn't like it was an effort for him to throw the ball 50 yards. By the way, he was standing on the 40 and threw a rope to the corner of the end zone. 50-yard pass, man. So the ball got there very quick. This is not like he threw it up in the air and everybody had a chance to run up under it. I mean, this was a couple seconds and the ball was on top of the guy. So,
hey, tip your hat, Jalen Milroe. When you watched the Texas A&M game, which is where he kind of turned things over and started playing a little bit better, but the first part of the year, did you think this guy would get this much better by the end of the year?
Alabama fans and the coaching staff, I mean,
after the Texas game,
he
it was
didn't
like,
even play in the South Florida game because I think Nick Saban tried to send the fans a message. All right, if y'all think some of these other guys are better than him, we're just going to sit him out over here and let these other ones play. And it almost cost Alabama the game, if you want to be honest about it.
Well, I'm not sure the offensive coordinator didn't make that decision. And then Nick Saban stepped back in and said, no,
that was sent saying that Jalen Milroe isn't perfect, but he's our best option. I think that's where the dust settled. And up until then, Jalen Milroe's good for 1 or 2 turnovers a game. And, you know, he protected the football. He was their only running game. Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams were complete non-factors in this game. You know, the fact that Alabama is kind of weird. That the fact that Alabama having to do everything in the air and Auburn's getting everything done on the ground is kind of crazy. Because you would think in the past that's the complete opposite. But Auburn gashed Alabama. You know, and you look at the way some of these other teams have run the football in Alabama. Alabama is going to have trouble against Georgia with Carson Beck playing the way he does and the receivers that he has, especially Brock Bowers, and a very talented group of running backs to run the football. It's a hard offense to defend. Not saying Alabama can't win the game because I think they can, but I think Alabama goes into these games from what I'm seeing offensively, and if Jalen Milroe don't have a good game, Alabama doesn't have a good game. Plain and simple.
A lot of teams out there like that.
And
the difference is at the end of the year, I didn't know at the first of the year that we could say that and he could be the reason that Alabama won. Right. I thought he was mediocre enough that you couldn't really say that about him. But here by the end of the year, he is able to go out there and win the game for you.
Freeze some more remarks, and then we'll get out here early. He said it's absolutely ridiculous that this portal window coming open is as long as it is. He said, I'm totally convinced Auburn can be a program that wins championships after year one. Says the team should be in every game coming up. Freeze on his upcoming conversations with Auburn prospects. He's a prospective outgoing transfer. He said, the only way I know to be is totally transparent. So, just some comments there. Kane, I'll tell you what, if we can go ahead and go, I know we'll go out about a minute and a half early, get out to break and get Will Herring on for a little bit of extended time on that last segment. So stay tuned. Will Herring coming up, one final segment here on the Auburn Blitz.
The interstate is backed up this morning due to an accident.
So you don't like sitting still on the interstate? Get the free Algo traffic app. With Algo, you'll have the information you need to avoid problems on your route to work, to home, to the beach. Traffic backups, wrecks, lane closures, all with current info and live traffic camera feeds. Know before you go with Algo Traffic, ALGO Traffic from the Alabama Department of Transportation. Get it today and arrive on time.
J.A. Smith Construction is your trusted choice for construction site clearing and grading for new home construction, underground utilities and site work, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 256-896-1400 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
SignSource is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama.
Chick-fil-A is always the best option when you're on the go, but they are also great when it comes to planning your next event, from tailgating to birthday parties to weddings. Call Chick-fil-A Alexander City at 256-289-7955 for catering or order on the Chick-fil-A app. Make sure to choose the Alexander City location and have your catering order ready to go. Nugget trays, mac and cheese trays, fruit trays, cookie trays, gallons of our famous lemonade or tea, and chilled grilled chicken sub sandwiches, and a lot more options. Make it Chick-fil-A Alexander City for your next event.
Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Final segment here on the Auburn Blitz, and go right to the phone line. Welcome in our good friend Will Herring, former Auburn Tiger sideline analyst. Will, man, tough one to swallow on Saturday.
Yeah, it was, guys. Like everybody else in the Auburn family, I think to watch our boys get hit in the face early on, you know, we went 3 and out, looked sloppy. Alabama went down and scored. You know, and then for them to come back and just battle the way they did, only to lose at the end was you felt for the boys. But at the same time, man, like, what an effort. What a football game, though, just from a competitor standpoint. And you hate to be on the wrong end of a kick-six-like finish, but what can you do other than learn from your mistakes and move on?
Will, you got a unique perspective. You played linebacker, you played back in the safety, and so I'm interested to hear your take on what the decision was to rush 2 on the 4th and 31 and what was going on back in the secondary that you could see.
Well, all game, you know, I'm counting rushers. Like we tried 6, which when you rush 6, that means you've got 5 on 5. That's like zero coverage. We tried 5, which is a zone dog. You know, you've got 6 to cover 5. Usually that's man free. And then 4 is just your standard rush. We tried it all. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not smart enough to figure out how to contain or sack Milroy with the I mean, I love our guys, but with the talent that we've got right now to work with, I mean, I've never been prouder of a hard-nosed group of young men. But as far as, like, we don't have a Quentin Groves coming off the edge. We don't have a prolific, you know, 4-4, 4-5 pass rusher. Milroy was one of, if not the fastest guy on the field when he was out there. So I just, you know, I don't know what you do. I don't know what the best answer is. Somebody was telling me last night's finished Monday Night Football was a similar situation, and they just had one spy, and they dropped 10. Like, did you guys watch that finish? I don't know if y'all got to see that.
I did. Yeah, it was very similar, very, very similar.
But I don't have an answer. I hate that that DJ got caught in a basically a one-on-one, almost like a basketball situation where you've got a guy posting up under the goal and you lob it over the top, and there's going to be a push-off. You know, the refs, you cannot expect the refs to call that, and they didn't call it. But it was just a incredible throw, incredible catch, and like I said, I hate that our eyes were not maintained. You know, keeping our eyes on the quarterback and on the ball. I think DJ got his back to the ball, and the kid made a play.
You know, Will, Coach Freeze said somebody should have been over there to help DJ on that play, and you just read off the numbers basically. I mean, it should have been, 9 guys, if not 8, back there covering 5. And you're looking around, and, Alabama credit, like Randy said earlier in the show, they work on that play. It's not just run down there and run around in circles and the quarterback's going to throw it up. I mean, they actually had a method to the madness, and it worked out. I mean, if you do that play 100 times, you might hit it one time, and it happened to be that one time. But to me, the biggest play in the game was the muff punt. We forced them to punt the football with about 4:30 on the clock. You get that. Alabama still got all 3 timeouts, but I don't think they're burning them there. So you're going to burn maybe a couple minutes off the clock, and at worst, you're going to punt and pin them back. And it was an unfortunate situation. It felt terrible for Coy Moore, but Keontae Scott's the normal punt returner. He has to go out to get a shoulder checked on, and it was just a bad situation, a bad scenario, and it was unfortunate for Auburn.
It was, and at the end of the day, you can say, well, poor pitiful us. This always happens. We can't get over we can't get the big win. Like moving forward, if that's your mentality, then you're a loser, in my opinion. I think winners learn from their mistakes, and you move forward. We played well enough to win that game against a really good Alabama team. And so I think it was a step in the right direction. The environment was incredible. The recruits that were there, to be able to catch a glimpse of what they could be a part of by just stepping in Jordan Hare on a game like that. I'm very optimistic about the trajectory of this program and the future of this program.
Will, I enjoyed the Carlos Dansby interview before the game, and there were a lot of Lettermen, including you, at the ball game on Saturday. Has Coach Freeze embraced all of you as much as it feels like?
He absolutely has. Coach Freeze, the entire staff. He's got a right-hand man named John. John's made it very clear to me, and I've talked to other Lettermen as well that have crossed paths with John, hey, we want y'all around the program. If you're in town, come on by. Whenever, wherever, however, we want y'all around. And I think that's part of what it's going to take is surrounding these young men with guys that have gone before them, and just teaching these young men that hey, you have an opportunity to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And so I have felt much love, and Carlos, I'm sure, mentioned it as well. Y'all heard on the air the other day, but he's Coach Freeze and their staff has made us feel very welcome.
Well, Will, we're going to let you go here, brother. We always appreciate you being on with us on Tuesdays. Just give you an opportunity to plug what you're doing down there in Auburn, and again, flipping the page on this game, moving in to the off season. Auburn will get a bowl game. Just your thoughts real quick on that, and then kind of give yourself a plug there, Will.
Yeah, no, the bowl season is very important. It's like a miniature spring training, and that first spring training of mine was where I felt like, I got our coaching staff's attention for the first time, and these boys have an opportunity to go out and practice in front of their coaches and improve a little bit, and especially with the turnover that we've gotten, with the transfer portal and everything, it's a tremendous opportunity. Okay. As far as what I'm doing, I don't want to bore everybody to death, but I'd be honored to take care of your home loan situation. If you need a mortgage, you can look me up online. But I appreciate you guys for having me on, fellas. As always, look forward to talking to you next week.
Will, thank you so much, brother. Have a good week, okay, bud?
Okay, guys. War Eagle.
Thanks so much. War Eagle to you. And that's Will Herring. Man, just does a great job on Saturdays. So you want around your program.
Yep.
You know, when you bring these recruits in, that's the guy you want.
Hey, you want a guy that's got an 8 years in the NFL and has played all over the place, and then he's got Dansby there with him that's been in there 15 some odd years. It goes a long way.
It does. Appreciate everybody watching and listening. Didn't get to everybody's comments, but continue those. We'll keep going all the rest of the week, and we'll get to all of them. We'll be back with you same time, same place tomorrow. For Randy, I'm Brett saying we've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.